What's up, everybody? I hope everyone is having a great evening so far. I got a very special guest with me this evening, former Miami Hurricane safety, Lovon Ponder, hometown kid from Opelika, Florida. Lovon, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure to have former players. Had Lance Leggett last week, and he said, bro, you got to get Lovon on. So I was like, you know it. I was going to reach out to him. Man, Lovon, tell me your recruiting story and kind of how did you end up at the University of Miami? Why did you pick Miami?
It was close to home. My high school sweetheart, which is my wife now, she was still in Miami. It was uh it had been my favorite team growing up was Kane. So
Right.
so that was kind of sealed the deal also.
And you went to Monsignor Pace.
Yeah,
You're from the Opelika, neighborhood. So you probably grew up with a lot of, players that played with you at the University of Miami as well.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Willie Williams, DeMarcus Van Dyke. We all played
Right.
high school football together. So it was, and then I played with some of the best, I guess, some of the best guys that ever played in South Florida. You had Jerry Seymour, Jerry Middlebrook, Derwin Lamb, a lot of guys who played Division I football. So
Yeah, absolutely. I remember DeMarcus Van Dyke at Pace because College Game Day had him on a feature, and he was thinking about going to Florida. I think when they let go of Larry Coker and they brought in Randy Shannon, he wasn't sure about Miami. I always remembered that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lovon, how was that transition from playing, high school football in Miami to playing at one of the greatest college football programs of all time? Because the amount of athletes there, I mean, future from like your backup tight ends, from to the secondary. I mean, you guys were stacked.
Man, you imagine going into a locker room and seeing. I think since I played there was 6 first rounders in the locker room.
Yeah.
And then when you go in the summertime, there's guys like Andre Johnson coming back. There's guys like Santana Moss, uh, Kellen Winslow. You got Jeremy Shockey. You got all these guys coming back to get that extra work in. It's amazing. I remember one time we even walked out there. Chad Johnson and Terrell Owens were out there on the field working out. I was like, man, what place can you get this at but Miami?
Exactly, man. It's crazy the amount of NFL talent Miami produces. I mean, you even look at Antonio Brown, for example, out of Miami Norland. He wasn't recruited by the Big Three, didn't get an opportunity. He's still one of the best receivers to play the game. So, like you just mentioned, a guy like Chad Johnson goes to Oregon State. He's coming back working out in Miami. Like just Miami-Dade County itself with high school players, man, it's stacked full of talent. How hard were practices at Miami?
Man, I put a thing out on Twitter said that it's a part of Green Tree where the shade is at, but it's still hot. And man, you talking about competition out there? You had guys like Lance Leggett, Sonora's Moss, Ryan Moore, Roscoe Fresh, guys like that going 1-on-1, and they gonna try to beat you every time, and you have to bring your A game.
Oh yeah, and who was your mentor, Lovon? Either a coach or player that you looked up to while your time at Miami?
I would have to say it was Brandon Merriweather.
Brandon
He was a guy
Merriweather.
who helped me a lot with with the defense, helped me to learn, offenses, what keys to look for. And then when he came in, Kenny Phillips, me and him,
Yeah.
I taught him the defense, and he took it to another level and became a first rounder.
Absolutely, man. I remember that game against Clemson that went to triple overtime, and he pulled up with that nice pick, man, to close the game. That was epic in Death Valley.
Yeah, man. I go back to play before that, even in the fourth quarter. I was in the game on a blitz. I blitz and Charlie Whitehurst. I come clean straight through, and he's so big. He was like 6'5", 6'6",
Yeah.
and he was able to somehow. I went and stripped the ball, but he was able to somehow throw it forward, and they called it, an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. And I was like, come on, man, that could have won the game.
Yeah, man. I remember that game, man. We were behind a lot, And Kyle Wright, I think a last-minute drive tied it up in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. To win in Death Valley back then was hard, but
Was
imagine
hard.
now. Yeah,
Man,
man.
before I told everybody before it was loud before they even added the extra seats above, the I guess I want to say it's the west end zone, not the end zone they come out of, but the other end zone. They added extra seats above that
Really?
to make the stadium even louder. It was already at what 90,000. My wife was there at the game. My son was there, and they could barely hear anything going on around.
What was the loudest game experience you ever played in?
Had to be Clemson.
Had to be Clemson. Yeah.
Clemson was loud, man. I mean, you couldn't even hear the ground was shaking. You couldn't even hear yourself like call out plays like to the next safety or to the corner. They couldn't even hear it.
Right, man. That's crazy. I wish I would have went. I'm gonna try to go to the away game this upcoming season. See if I can make it to that game, man. With Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne.
Oh man, Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence. Man, then the guy Ladison, he's pretty good.
South Dade.
Yeah.
South Dade High School.
Yeah.
Very good
Pretty
player.
good receiver. Yeah.
Hey, Lovon, what was your favorite moment of that 2005 season?
I would say Clemson game. That was my first action as a safety. It was just, getting in the games and actually feeling that atmosphere of a big time game. Guys that, that played big time ball, playing with Devin Hester and Sonoris Moss. And, man, I just name guys go on and on and on. Garvis is so Tyrone Moss, man, just different guys that were just on the and guys on that defense. You could name
Kelly Jennings,
Marcus Maxey, Brandon Merriweather, Kenny Phillips, man, just different guys who played in the NFL many years in the NFL and was one of the best at the position at the time.
Greg Olson, was he there?
Greg Olson was there.
Yeah,
Greg Olson was man, I was just it's crazy, man.
It's like an all Pro Bowl team, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you learn as a redshirt freshman, after that 05 season? Because I know it kind of ended in a sour note with that, that scuffle at the end against LSU.
Yeah.
What did you learn going into next year?
I learned that you had to be patient. That like your time's coming. That you need to just get in the book, be in the playbook, learn everything, man. Learn everything that you can. Every time I talk to these young guys out here, I say, man, what you should do if you're on defense or on offense, learn the whole offense or learn the whole defense.
Yes.
Learn where everybody's supposed to be at. That way, when coach comes to you, he'll be like, where you supposed to be on this? Man, I was fitting here, but such and such didn't fit here, so I went here, just to make it. So when the coach looks at you like, oh, okay, I can't fuss at him next time. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
It was and just learning from 05 to 06 was a year of, like a big transition year for me, because I went from just sparingly playing to being one of the guys that's going to be counted on.
Right.
To make production. It was one of those transitions that I liked, and it's pretty good.
How was your relationship with Randy Shannon as defensive coordinator? I think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in college football.
Mm-hmm.
His resume speaks for itself. He's been everywhere in the game, not just Miami, at Florida to UCF. Mm-hmm. How was your relationship with him? What are some things you can tell us as fans who may have not had that personal relationship with Randy?
As a defensive coordinator, man, Randy was the guy, man. When I mean a guy who would break down the defense for you to make it where it's simple terms, but it still be sophisticated. So like he'll give me terms like, man, just get there and just break down. You don't even have to go nowhere. Just get there, break down, make the tackle. Instead of we got to get there, run your hips, lower your hips. It just instead of going through all the motion, you just break it down simply and learn the defense from him. He gave you every little nuance of what offense is going to run against you. And even when it came to game planning time, he would go over things that that he didn't, that weren't on film, but was maybe from that same offensive coordinator at a previous school when he was at a previous school. It's just different things he did. He was one thing I want to say about him is he was the guy that recruited me. Put it that way.
Oh, really? He was
Yeah.
a head recruiter. Okay.
Yeah, he was my lead recruiter. He came to my house a couple of times to visit me. Came to school a couple of times, but yeah, he was the lead recruiter on my on recruiting me.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. He's a local guy. Went to Miami Norland. I mean, he is
Yeah,
a Miami guy. He
yeah,
even played
he was a
golf.
Miami guy. Yeah,
Man, definitely, man. It is what it is. Miami moved forward with Shannon, but I definitely think he's a great coach.
yeah.
His resume speaks for itself,
It
man.
speaks for
So
itself. You look at those Florida defenses. Even though
yeah,
we over here at Miami, like they say, we hate Florida, but his
right, yeah,
defense over there were awesome, man.
outstanding.
It went to many BCS games over there. Well, I won't say BCS, but college championship games, whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, with his defense, and then his UCF defense are breaking the top 15 every year. So that's
yeah. This is a top 20 program. You can bring him on the show.
Yeah. Oh, you want to blow a whistle? You want to blow a whistle? Oh, go.
Hey, Lovon, man, you got to tell me about that. I was at the Orange Bowl against UNC. Man, that was one of my favorite moments as a kid growing up, man. The hot, sunny day at the OB. We're playing UNC. And the funny thing was, man, this play where, you got someone lining up at receiver, drops the dime in the end zone, that was like becoming popular, kind of like that Darren McFadden Wildcat formation.
Yeah.
And you lined up at receiver that game, man, and you dropped the dime to Sam Shields,
Yeah.
who was opening the end zone, man. Another great NFL player, by the way. Kind of
Yeah.
go through that play,
positions,
man. Kind of go through that play, man. And what kind of caused it? Did you play quarterback in high school?
I didn't play quarter. I didn't play offense. I played a little receiver my senior year, but since we had pace, we played both ways as a team because we only had about 40 some guys on the team. So we had to play both ways, offense and defense. But no, actually, I like to call myself an athlete. I play basketball, but I like to call myself an athlete because I wanted to learn everything. So I wanted to learn how to throw the ball. I know how to pitch. If shoot a basketball. I just wanted to know how to do everything. But when it came to throwing, I would go and work out. Well, get up early. I mean, not get up early, but go out early with the quarterbacks, and they would throw cross field like from sideline to sideline. And I was like, man, let me see the ball. I bet I can throw it sideline to sideline. They were like, oh, you can't throw it. And I said, man, give me the ball. Let me see. And I just threw it. And I was like, man. And at the time, I was coordinator, Coach Olsen.
Yeah.
Came out. He was walking out at the time. He was like, man, you got a cannon. I said, just let's keep that in mind. I said, okay. So all right. The next week, he come. I hear he call me over to the officer field. I'm like, going to the officer field for what? He like, here, we're going to line you up right here. We're going to have you back up. We're going to throw you the ball. And he told me, just look for Sam. He's going to be wide open. I'm like, okay. And then he say, if Sam not wide open, look backside. Lance is going to be wide open. I was like, okay. All right. That'll be fine. So we ran the play a couple of times in practice. One time they left Sam open and I threw it to him. Another time they covered him and I threw it backside the Lance. Then next time they covered everybody and it was like, just take off and run. So when game time came, he was like, you got to go and play your first defensive possession without your gloves. So you're going to throw without your gloves. I'm
Yeah,
like, really?
right.
I got to go without. He's like, yeah, you got to go because they see you come out the field without your gloves on, they know you're going to throw the ball. I'm like,
Right.
okay. So he was like, it was early. He was like, we going to run it right now. Stay by me. He's like,
Right.
go in. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, okay, I'm on the opposite side of the ball. So, we didn't even go in the huddle. We just went in a straight lined up. And, they motioned over Olsen in front of me and Kyle threw the screen. And I looked up. I tell everybody, I actually was looking for the Lance backside.
Oh,
before I looked
really?
for Sam. I didn't know he was that wide open. And
Yeah.
when I heard the crowd go, do the roar, I was like, oh, Sam is wide open. And I just threw it. I was like, please
Love it,
don't
man.
overthrow him. Please don't underthrow him. Just put him on
Right.
the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially I feel like the most easiest passes, the wide open guy. I feel like that's the
Yeah.
one gets overthrown, underthrown. You
Yeah.
know, so that's awesome, man. I remember that play vividly, where I was sitting when it happened, man. That was
Yeah.
very cool.
It was fun because our quarterbacks that whole season hadn't thrown a touchdown pass to a wide receiver at that to
Really?
that point. To that
Okay.
point, and when I threw it to Sam that was the first touchdown by a wide receiver that season.
Oh, okay. Wow. And Kyle Wright was the starting quarterback,
Yeah,
right?
Kyle Wright was starting
Love it.
quarterback.
Hey, Lovon, what was your favorite moment, man, as a Miami Hurricane? And I want to pick your brain on kind of your perspective as a young player, seeing guys like Devin Hester and Greg Olson, Kenny Phillips, Brandon Merriweather. Like, did you realize how talented these guys were at being an underclassman?
Yeah, because going up against those guys every day, going against the offensive guys every day, and seeing Brandon Merriweather was a guy who went from safety to corner and started at corner for a couple of games while I was starting at safety. I was like, this guy is versatile. He was a nickelback. He was a corner, hard hitting safety, and was drafted in the first round as a safety. So I was like, this guy is talented. And Kenny Phillips went and played corner Duke game and had 3 interceptions that game. It was crazy. But
Right.
I just seeing guys like Devin Hester work as a receivers one year, as a cornerback the next year, had lead tied on the lead for the team in interceptions as an athlete, and who wasn't really hadn't had that many, was really raw at cornerback when he was there and still led the team in interceptions. This was just amazing. And
Yeah.
then Greg Olson was a guy who you can see the talent just buzzing out of him. A big guy, speed, could run, could catch, soft hands. Man, it was just crazy.
How was that transition from Larry Coker to Randy Shannon in terms of, practice to game day?
Oh, practice went totally different. We went from practicing 2.5 hours a day to an hour and a half.
Wow.
It was everything when Shannon came in. Everything was quick tempo and just get off the field. It was we had minimal breaks in between different periods, and it was get your plays in. If you mess up, we'll correct it on the film and get it over like that. Then when it came, it was Thursday. We would do a morning practice at like 5 in the morning, and so that way we'll have all the rest of Thursday and Friday to be off our feet for Saturday. So that was a big total difference, as in being able to be rested and ready for the game.
No, absolutely. And I wanted to pick your brain. We just talked about Shannon being one of the great defensive minds in the game of college football. How do you like Manny Diaz's defensive scheme right now? I think with Blake Baker, they're running a 4-2-5 defense. Do you think that caters to the athletes, the South Florida athletes, and your prototypical Miami Hurricane football player?
Yeah, it does. It gives you puts more speed on the field. With all the offenses running, spread offense, you're able to get another DB out on the field with the striker who is basically. Everybody looks at it a different way. I always look at it as a nickelback. He's just a nickelback who can tackle and
Right.
can cover. So with running a 4-2-5, it's basically a nickel package really, and because if you look at it, uh, what that was 2 years ago. What last year when they got down the goal line, the nickel got the striker was out of the game. They always
Right.
brought in either McLeod or another linebacker
Yes.
when they got down in a goal line. So yeah, it was. But I like the scheme because you get more athletes on the field. You can, if you look at our defense right now, our athletes are on the back end. So now you could be able to put in a couple of more guys.
Lovon, what were your first thoughts about week 1 against UAB? How do you think the team played overall?
It was it was week one, man.
Yeah.
It's UAB. I put out on Twitter. UAB is now 1-1 and
Yes.
not 0-1. They had already played the game, so they was
Right.
already able to work out their, the first game jitters, the first game kinks. They was able to, you know, get their penalties and get, even though they had a lot of penalties, but that's just them. But they was able to get those, those false start penalties or those offside penalties
Right.
or those, substitution penalties. They was able to get those out of the way a week before. But man, it was a very solid game played by the Canes. I tell everybody that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very satisfied, with our run game specifically.
Yeah.
I would have liked to incorporate the tight ends more because I think we're that talented in the tight end room.
Yeah.
Instead of consecutive like inside zone reads, just zone reads in general. I feel like that was very replicated a lot throughout the game. Just mix it up a little bit, but we still
Yeah.
ran for over 332 yards. I mean, that's
Yeah.
insane. That's Madden numbers. So,
Yeah.
hey, I'm
But I
fine with.
always
Go
I
ahead.
tell guys to look at Derek King when he was at Houston.
Yeah.
The guys who always led their team in receiving was the outside guys. And he's coming in now. His best guy is on the inside, so it'll take him some time to adjust his game. But he's a great quarterback. He'll be able to do it. But his lead guys were always outside guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I'm not worried about the passing game. They didn't
yeah,
even have spring practice.
yeah. They
Let's slowly
no
get the
spring
offense
practice.
going, man.
Yeah,
We'll be fine. How did you think about our secondary? Talk about cornerback play because that's been a big question mark. I think the
yeah.
past couple years, whether it's depth, just inconsistent play. How do you rate those guys?
Blaze is a first to second day talent.
Very nice.
He's that good. He's a guy who can physical, come up and tackle, can cover. Um, Ivy is a guy who's still playing like he's a little bright eyed, but you can see that the talent is there. You can see it there. He has the lateral movement, but sometimes it looks like a lack of concentration on this point when getting there. But other than that, the guy I really like is Corey Couch. He really has quick feet, quick hands. A guy who can get up and cover, play inside and outside. But I'm just looking forward to seeing him get a chance. But the back end with our safeties, man, they are one of the top bunch
Yeah.
in the nation to me. And I tweeted out, man, Bubba Bolden is the best player on our defense, and I think he's the best defensive player in the nation.
Bubba Bolden and Gervin Hall, can you compare them to any safeties that were in your position group, maybe yourself as well, and some intangibles?
Bubba Bolden is the Kenny Phillips.
Wow.
He short tackler. When I mean short tackler, when he gets to the spot and gets to the tackle, the guy's coming down. I have not seen Bubba Bolden miss. I've seen him miss maybe one tackle since he's been playing. And when talking about short tackle, and that's what you need. And when I look at Gervin, he is one of those. I call him the Randy Phillips type guy who's gonna
Yeah.
get a bunch of interceptions, can cover across the field. He's like also a guy who was a lot of people may not forget or may not remember was Greg Three. He's like Greg Three. Greg Three was all over the field,
Yeah.
interceptions everywhere. Coming up with tip balls and doing all kind of stuff. But that's two guys I see them as.
Want to go back to De'Ara King real quick because I know you faced Marcus Vick and Kelly
Yeah,
Jennings from Blacksburg actually had like 3 picks that game. I remember that was a big game. Kyle Wright
yeah,
had an outstanding game as
same
well.
game.
Does he remind you of a better Marcus Vick, or do you think they're equivalent right now?
Nah. Marcus Vick he wasn't as he wasn't. I guess he was scrambled to throw. A lot of people thought because he was like his brother, he would run a lot, but he was scrambled to throw the ball more than scrambled to take off. Now Tyrod Taylor was a guy who was scrambled to take off,
Yes.
and I played
Yeah.
against him also.
Yeah,
but
he
he
was
was
good.
a guy who scrambled to take off. But Vic was a guy who scrambled to throw because he wanted to get rid of that stigmatism as he was like his brother that he could run, 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 run.
Yeah.
But he was a guy that threw the ball. If you look at his film, he threw the ball a lot.
Right.
Yeah. But they had a guy named Brandon Orr who was that running back who was just
Yeah, I remember
amazing.
him. Yeah, I
So they
remember
would
him.
just they would hand the ball off to him. I think he had like 28 or 20 some carries against us, something like that.
Lovon, what do you think our cornerbacks are being taught right now when defending the pass?
Uh,
Because I
but
see, for example, like Ivy, he doesn't turn his head around. You know,
he,
when
cause he, I tell you this, he doesn't turn his head around because he don't know the ball's coming, cause he's out of position.
out of position.
Like on the touchdown pass, he didn't move his feet, so the guy got inside position already. And when he went, he knew he was in man of coverage. So when the guy went in, he went to go try to jump the under route. And the guy, instead of going on the under route, the guy whipped out into a corner and it was wide open. So he was already in the trail position at that time. If he could have turned his head around, yeah, but he was out of position to get there anyway. So it wasn't gonna matter if he turned his head around or not. This ball was gonna be caught.
Gotcha. No, absolutely. And I know you had your take on Christian Williams transferring. How would you handle? Because numbers wise, we're very slim. We have two true freshmen who haven't played a game of college football. We got Corey Couch. I think he redshirted this past season. We got 5 guys total. How would you handle that position group? And who would you make a position change? And who do you think can make that change?
Maybe Gilbert Frierson because he
Yeah.
was one of the better cover guys we have. I even looked at some film last year, a lot of practice film last year where he was covering KJ Osborne, and I was just giving some tips. He was trying to play man press, but he lost it at the line of scrimmage without using his feet. He went to use he shot his hands first. You can't do that as a corner. It goes feet, hips, hands all the time. Feet, hips, hands. Tell everybody you go feet, hips, then hands. You get a jam because they're not gonna just stand in front of you and let you jam with your hands.
Right.
You gotta go feet, hip, hands, and move. But he was a guy who started to do that a lot more as you see him when he was getting into the games. He was moving first, then jamming.
No, absolutely. I think Frierson is probably the easiest transition switch. People did mention Bubba Bolden, but like you said, man, he's probably our best safety out there, man.
Safety.
Keep him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keep him at safety.
Exactly.
It's no lead. Now, if you get into a desperation situation where you're down another 2 corners or something like that, yeah, because you have some veterans back there in the safety position. But other than that, leave them at corner. But with the plan 4-2-5, you don't use a nickel back, so all your cornerbacks are cornerbacks. You got 2 strikers who are converted, I guess, safeties or not, because Keontre Smith came in as a safety, and Gilbert Frierson came in as a safety.
Right.
So they're playing nickel, but they're converted safety. So, but all your corners are cornerbacks. So you have 4, 5 on scholarship, but 4 on scholarship now. But if you look at the NFL roster, they only have 4. So I tell everybody, Miami is NFL U. So if you're going to play everything like an NFL roster, you're going to – I mean, 07, we used 6 DBs the whole year. It was 6 DBs used the whole year. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Our 3 corners, they played every down, and you don't – if injuries come up with, in the new age of coronavirus, and then, yeah, it may be a problem, but right now it's not a problem to me.
And are you familiar with Louisville? This upcoming game, Miami's the underdog by 1.5. Louisville has their leading receiver returning is from Miami Northwestern Senior High School. Miami did not want to offer him. That was under the Mark Richt coaching staff. Tutu Atwell. What I got from this offense, it's very high power. They're probably the fastest wide receiver group. If not in the ACC, one of the fastest groups in the nation. I've seen at times they go 4 verticals, and they're just going to beat you. They're going to run by you, and then if Cunningham doesn't see anyone open, he's going to take off and fly. He can play receiver at the next level. He's that talented.
Yeah. That's the thing is you have to, with a quarterback like Cunningham, you're going to have to lock onto your man and make sure he doesn't get any kind of space. Because Cunningham he's going to throw it. But with Tutu Atwell, the story reminds me of a guy named Patrick Robinson. You know Patrick Robinson played for Florida State, drafted in the first round, played for the Saints, won the Super Bowl. My year was 06, I think he came out 07. Miami didn't want to recruit him. He came out, wanted to come to Miami, came to practices every weekend, but they didn't want to offer him. And it was a guy who wound up being a first rounder, top talent in the NFL for a long time.
What do you think will be the keys to the matchup against Miami versus Louisville? I personally think, create turnovers, win the turnover battle, and get to Micah Cunningham. Because I feel like he doesn't protect the ball a lot. He's not an elite passer. We saw with Sam Howell or Trevor Lawrence. He just gives it to his playmakers, and they do the work. And it's a lot of big plays they develop to their offense. What do you think would be the keys to win the game for Miami?
To win the game is we're going to have to do ball control because we're going to have to keep their high-power offense off the field as much as possible. Because, as you can see, you saw how, like last week against Western Kentucky, they were boom, 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 touchdown. It was boom, 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 touchdown. Nice. Handoff, touchdown. They're a high-powered offense. If you can keep ball control, win the turnover battle, and we got guys up front who can get pressure on Cunningham, and we got guys that got speed on the ends to keep them contained. It's going to be a good game.
No, absolutely. And Lovon, so far, how satisfied are you with Manny Diaz as a head coach, and how do you see the future of the program 5 years?
He's a very good head coach. Was actually when he was at Florida State. He coached against us. He was at NC State, coached against us. He's a very good guy. He's one of the guys. He's been around for a long time, so he's he knows Miami. He knows the culture of Miami.
Yeah,
that's a guy that you want to keep around. And one thing you haven't heard under Manny Diaz is any team violations except for maybe 2 or 3. So it's something he's doing either discipline wise or, getting to guys, heads, let them know, hey, this is not happening. This is not what we're going to do. But it's amazing you haven't had any infractions like that.
Absolutely. And, recruiting nowadays, there's an under the table market for it. It's going on in college football. There's nothing to hide it.
Always.
So for Miami to run a clean slate, clean program, man, there's so many distractions in Miami, especially when you're winning. I mean,
when you're winning, it is a circus. You can get into any club you want to. There's many girls around, man. It's a lot of things that can get you into trouble when you're winning in Miami, man. And you go to the club. Oh, that's such and such, man. Y'all let them in. Oh, I got my buddies with me. All right, we're going in. All right, we all in. We hanging out at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. God, it's just crazy, man. Then you got people, guys who have money that they want to hand you. Here's a couple $100 for that pick, man. And but for him to have a clean program like that and have no, infractions or anything going on is amazing.
Yeah, man.
That's one head coach you want to know. That's a head coach you want to have.
Absolutely, man. I hope Manny can pull it off. I think he's doing the right things. He's making the right changes. And Rhett Lashley as an offensive coordinator, man, I really like what he brings to the table. And to bring in De'Ara King as a grad transfer portal to utilize that, man, that definitely is like a free agency. Are you a fan of the transfer portal?
Yeah, I would say it because if it was, I tell everybody I love the U. I love the U. But it was around when 07, 08, when I was playing, I probably would have used it just because it was would have gave me an opportunity to go somewhere and play, without having to have the pressure of being being you're gonna have to play because this we bring this freshman in. We promise him he's gonna be a
Yeah,
starter.
exactly. They all
Yeah,
they promise all the players that, all the top recruits that.
all the top
Yeah, man.
recruits.
Every
And then
program.
yep, all 5 stars. They say, hey, you don't think you better than this guy? Come on in and play. You don't think you don't want to come here? You don't think he's better? You're better than him, and things like that.
Speaking of 5-star Lovon, I don't know if you're still kind of keep in touch with your former high school, but Shamar Stewart's the #1 player in the nation for 2022, man. He's the
Yeah.
DN at Monsignor Pace. You
Uh
think Miami can land him?
huh. He likes the defensive line coach a lot. He keeps tweeting that out that he does. So
Yeah, man.
this guy, I talked to him a couple of times, let him know, hey man, you continue that pipeline from Pace to Miami, man.
Yeah.
It's a pipeline that's there. I think they got a good chance of landing them because if you think about it, you have Holly. How many defensive ends in 2021? I think it's 2 that they recruiting or something like that, or have
Yeah.
signed, and one they may put at linebacker because that's
Right.
what
Thomas
he's been
Davis.
flexing. Thomas Davis. That's what he's
Yeah.
been flexing out as. So 2022, hey man, you got a chance to be one of the only ones that we signed because we have so many in this class. So,
Right. Last question, Lovon, I got for you, man. Who was the best player you played with or played against? Doesn't have to be a Miami Hurricane, or it could be your teammate.
Can I go with 2 players?
Yeah,
Best
absolutely.
player I played against was Calvin Johnson,
Yeah.
Megatron.
Ooh.
Man,
Georgia Tech.
you want to see a guy who can make all the catches, every catch. Man, he hurt my heart so bad when he caught that diving catch across the middle when we played them in '05.
Yeah.
When we had on the, because we were ranked 2 at the time, getting ready to go play for the national championship. We're gonna
Yeah, I
play
remember that game.
Miami's back. Man, he caught that post across the middle. But playing against, Calvin Johnson is probably the guy I played against. But playing with had to be Devin Hester, man. You can't. All you have to do is get in your guy's way, and he was gonna make the move to score. I remember the Duke game. He was like,
Yeah.
man, y'all just block somebody, man. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna score. I was like, okay. If you see look at that play, I think I hit 3 people at one time, and then I just pushed somebody else, and he was gone. Man, it was just fun playing with that guy because all you got to do was he set up nice blocks, and it was one of those uh, moments I'd never forget because I played with probably the best, no, not probably the best return guy to ever play this game called football.
Hands down. And in the
Hands
NFL.
down. In the NFL, yeah.
I think he was the first kickoff return in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Had to be
Actually,
Hester with the Bears.
I had those cleats that he wore.
Really?
I actually played in them Marshall game. I painted them all black. But he had well, I say not those. Not that pair that he wore in the Super Bowl, but the pair he had 2 pairs.
Right.
He had one that he wore in practice and one that he wore in the game.
Oh,
and
yeah?
the one he wore in practice, I had the same exact shoes, and he actually gave them to Anthony Reddick, and Reddick didn't want to wear them. So
That's
like, man,
another player. Anthony
Reddick.
Reddick was, man. He came
was
in with a lot of smoke. Like, good
man,
player, man.
If he hadn't tore his ACL,
Yeah.
and he's tore it twice, he would have been the #1 safety to get drafted in that '06 draft.
Yeah, man.
That was been his junior year. He was gone.
Sam Shields and Anthony Reddick, those were the 2 players that came in with a lot of hype, man. Like,
Hype.
5-star.
I actually played against Sam Shields in high school. We beat them to go to the state championship game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was a sophomore at the time and was a burner.
Yeah.
Guy could fly, man. I mean, Sam was one of the fastest people I ever seen live. He ran a 4.25 and didn't even look like he was moving. Everybody looked up. It's like 4.25, 4.25.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, he was a burner.
Why do you think he developed later in his, which, I mean, it was perfect timing, but just in college, he didn't really fully, compared to his NFL career. I mean, he didn't really fully develop in college with the position switch at the end his senior year, going to corner
Yeah.
from receiver.
I guess just having different receiver coaches. He had like 3 different receiver
Yeah,
coaches.
man.
So it was, as some guys work certain things certain ways, and it just, sometimes you gotta, try to flow and try to make your game to how they want you to fit it, and they try to play you, but it didn't work. But his move to corner was a great move for him.
Yeah.
All pro. He was
Super
a
Bowl
Pro
champion.
Bowl, Super Bowl champion. So, hey, it's
I
great.
love it. The rest is history.
Yeah.
Lovon, what's your score prediction, man? Week 2, Miami goes to Louisville, Kentucky. What you got for us?
I'm gonna say 35-13.
35-13, Miami?
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go 45-21 Miami. I think we win in the turnover battle. First half, it's 21-21. Miami pulls away moving forward, man. Lovon, it was a pleasure to have you on, man. And look forward to talking more Canes football with you on Twitter, man. And maybe you come back on the show when we go undefeated this year.
All right, I'll be there. I'll be here,
All
man.
right,
Just
man.
let me know. All right, man. Go
Let's get
Canes.
Lovon. All right, man. Many blessings, man. Peace.
Thanks.